What's going on YouTube? Flashy here. Welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. A few weeks back, we went over a Solar Hunter in Gambit, and today we're going to be talking about a really fun and simple Arc Hunter build for Gambit, which is all centered around health regen and meleeing. So before we get into that, be sure to hit that like button. It helps out the channel a bunch, and hit subscribe so you don't miss out on future Destiny 2 videos. As always, to start off, let's look at our subclass, and we're actually going to be going with Gathering Storm Super. Like I said before, the build is very melee focused, so we need some big burst damage that we could do to the Primeval, and Gathering Storm is a perfect super for that. So moving into our abilities, we definitely want to take Gambler's Dodge. Dodge should perform a deft tumble. Avoiding enemy attacks and dodging near enemies fully recharges your melee. With a close quarters build like this, we're always going to be near enemies, so constantly dodging and getting our charge melee back, and that melee is actually going to be Combination Blow. A quick strike that temporarily increases your melee damage when defeating a target, stacking up to 3 times, and defeating targets with this ability also fully refills your class ability energy and restores a small amount of health. So our melee is fully recharging our dodge, and our dodge will fully refund our melee, and you are constantly just switching back and forth between dodge, melee, and so on. You will just be clearing out enemies and racking up so many motes just because you're right in the middle of all of these kills that you're getting. And for our grenade, we're going to be going with Storm Grenade. I like it a lot. Really nice burst AoE damage. And now moving over into our aspects, the first one is going to be Lethal Current. Really insane synergy with this melee build here. After dodging, your next melee attack has increased lunge range, jolts the target, and creates a damaging aftershock. Damaging any jolted enemy with melee also blinds them. So our dodge that's fully refunding our melee is now also buffing our next melee, so it makes that loop of dodge melee just that much better. The next aspect is going to be Flow State. Some nice buffs from Amplified here that make our dodge recharge more quickly. We get more resilience while dodging and an increase in reload speed. More mobility, more fluid movement. It all feels really nice amidst just spamming your melee non-stop and racking up 15 motes to deposit and getting that large blocker. Now let's move down into the fragments, and honestly, I'm not too crazy about the arc fragments, especially for this build, but there are some nice ones we can add in for our melee. So the first fragment up is going to be Spark of Resistance. While surrounded by combatants, you are more resistant to damage. This is a close quarters build. Spark of Resistance will pretty much always be procced. Really nice way to just increase that survivability. Next fragment is Spark of Ions. Defeating a jolted target creates an ionic trace. Those ionic traces are just going to get us amplified, so it's just another way of getting amplified and getting all those really nice buffs that come with it. Next fragment, Spark of Feedback. This is an interesting one. Taking melee damage briefly increases your outgoing melee damage and gives us a +10 to our resilience. Pretty self-explanatory, but also really nice synergy there. And finally, our last fragment is Spark of Frequency. Melee hits increase your reload speed. This helps a lot with using rockets or machine guns to help with our damage output, especially against something like the Primeval. With the subclass done, looking at the weapons, it's really whatever you want. This is a melee build, so we always have our dodge, we always have our melee. We don't really need any weapons that are going to give us regen or anything like that. Again, the one thing to keep in mind is you won't be doing too much damage against the Primeval, like I just said. Rockets work really nice for the heavy. Machine guns are also good. Thunderlord is always a great option for Gambit. I generally go with that for ad clear, Primeval damage, and for invaders. But if you have a really nice rocket launcher, that'll work perfectly for your weapons. And finally, our armor. The exotic helmet, Assassin's Cowl, is what brings this entire build together with this armor perk, Vanishing Execution. Powered melee final blows grant invisibility and restore a portion of health and shields. And then the more powerful the target, the longer you're invisible, or the more health you regen. With this helmet, you can literally just sit in the middle of tons of enemies, spamming your melee. You're going to be getting insta-healed, almost like you have Devour, and you'll be going invisible, so if you need to get out quick, you can as well. It really synergizes perfectly with any hunter melee build you're working with. And again, we're going to be getting that dodge for that increased melee damage right after that. So it's dodge, increased melee damage, melee, go invisible, regen your health. Really nice loop right there. Really addicting too, I'm not gonna lie. Now, I don't want to get too into the mods and whatnot because this build works great as is. All you need is your dodge and your melee. And also because armor mods are getting overhauled in Lightfall. But one nice mod that we can use is actually Impact Induction. On the gauntlets, causing damage with a melee attack reduces your grenade cooldown. Just another way to get that grenade back, do some AoE, and get some damage on the board. And to close out the video, if you guys want to see the appearance customization, it's on screen now. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know down in the comments if you try it out, and let me know what you think. Again, really fun way to literally just dodge and melee and take out groups of enemies, bank as many motes as you can, and then hammer into the Primeval with that Gathering Storm Super. Please be sure to subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.